Hey everyone, and welcome to today's explainer. I am so pumped about what we're covering today because we're going to look at some source material that reveals one single, absolutely massive concept. Literally, it's the secret to transforming your life. Like if you've ever felt completely stuck in a rut, or maybe you're working super hard but just not getting anywhere, yeah, you're going to want to pay close attention to this. Let's just dive right in. Right out of the gate, I've got to ask you, what do you actually think the secret to success is? Like, is it just having raw, natural talent? Is it sitting around waiting for a lucky break, hoping the universe just hands it to you? Or, I don't know, maybe you think it's about being wildly motivated 24/7. People argue about this all the time, right? But the material we're unpacking today, it cuts right through all that noise to give us the real answer.
And honestly, it's a reality check we all need. We really need to just toss out these massive myths of talent and luck. You don't have to be born special to succeed, guys. The heavy, absolute truth here: consistency. That is the real secret. Think about it. Talent might get you off the starting line, and luck might give you a nice little push, but consistency, that is literally the only thing that's going to get you across the finish line. Period.
So let's look at section 1, why people fail. And really, it all boils down to this thing called the quit cycle. Because, look, people don't fail because they're fundamentally weak or incapable. They fail simply because, well, they quit. Let's actually trace how that quitting happens, because it's almost uncomfortably relatable. We usually start out with, say, 2 days of just insane, grinded-out hard work. You're super fired up, but then you're totally exhausted. So you take a 3-day break. Makes sense, right? But then, bam, that break snowballs into an entire week of just pure laziness. You start feeling bad about it, and what's the go-to move? You watch some high-energy motivational video at 2 a.m., get all pumped up again, and this whole toxic loop just restarts. The source text actually calls this the inconsistent life. In living this inconsistent life, it takes a massive emotional toll. We're not just talking about missing your goals here. It actively messes with your head. This broken loop leads straight into these heavy feelings of regret and guilt, because you know you could be doing more. It just eats away at you, which completely shatters your self-confidence, can lead to feeling depressed, and ultimately, absolute failure. It is a trap, and it's exactly what we're breaking out of today. Which brings us to section 2, the real secret to success. So, how do we actually cure this toxic cycle? Well, we have to totally redefine what winning takes and completely strip away all those scary misconceptions about hard work. First off, let's get one thing straight. Consistency does not mean killing yourself with grueling 12-hour workdays until you totally burn out. That is a massive myth. Consistency really just means doing a little bit every single day. No breaks. It's a simple act of the daily show up. Whether you wake up feeling fresh and excited, or you're totally exhausted, lacking motivation, and just in a terrible mood, it doesn't matter. You just show up. And here's this incredibly fascinating byproduct of that daily show up. The text explicitly tells us that consistency equals self-confidence. Now, how exactly does that work? Well, confidence isn't some magic spell. It comes from practice. When you practice doing just a tiny bit every day, you are literally rewiring your brain. You're giving it undeniable hard proof that you follow through. So your brain automatically starts believing, oh, hey, yes, I can do this. True, rock-solid self-confidence is built quietly in the background of consistency. Moving right along to section 3. Small efforts, massive results. This is where we really get to see the crazy compounding power of those tiny daily efforts stretched over a long period of time. Just imagine dedicating 1 single hour a day to studying or building a new skill. Sounds like basically nothing, right? But look at this timeline. In 1 month, you're noticeably better. Stick with it for 6 unbroken months, you're a completely different person skill-wise. And after 1 full year of just 1 hour a day, oh man, you are miles ahead of everyone else who spent that same year just talking and planning out what they were going to do. But, and this is a huge but, you really have to set realistic expectations here. Think of it like going to the gym. You don't get shredded in a day, right? The real secret of consistency is understanding that the results are delayed. In month 1, honestly, all you get is pain. You look in the mirror, nothing's changed. Month 2, okay, maybe you feel some tiny shifts. But it's really not until month 3 that a visible difference finally shows up. The pain always comes first, and the reward, that comes later. And this brilliant rule of delayed gratification, it applies to absolutely everything in life. Whether you're studying for some massive exam, trying to launch a startup, learning a complex new skill, or even starting a YouTube channel, they all demand the exact same price:
relentless consistency through that awful initial phase of zero results, long before they ever hand over the rewards. All right, section 4, motivation versus discipline. This right here is the core conflict, and honestly, the single biggest trap people fall into. They rely totally on their feelings to get stuff done.
The source material hits us with a pretty hard truth here. Motivation is literally just a feeling. You have it today, tomorrow it's gone. It's temporary, and it always fades. So relying on it practically guarantees you're going to stop eventually. Discipline, on the other hand, that's not a feeling. It's an action. It's permanent. It's reliable. And it forces you to keep pushing forward, even when your motivation has just packed up and left the building.
There's this one quote from the text that I absolutely love, and it says, "Whether you're in the mood or not, the work gets done." Boom. That is the voice of discipline right there. That is the exact mindset you have to adopt. It's really the only reliable engine that drives true consistency. You basically have to divorce your actions from your moods completely. Okay, section 5, the consistency formula. This is the good stuff. Your exact, actionable blueprint for building that unbreakable consistency. So here's the formula, nice and clear. Goal plus routine plus patience equals success. First, you've got to decide on a clear goal. That's your North Star. It gives you direction. Second, fix a daily routine. That's your actual daily action step. And finally, you have to have immense, ridiculous patience. Because like we just talked about, the results are going to be super slow at first. But when they finally hit, they will permanently change your life. Let's actually look at some real-world proof of this formula doing its thing. Just think about anyone you really admire. The creator who uploads a video every single day, their channel eventually explodes. The student who actually commits to studying daily, they crush that impossibly hard exam. The person hitting the gym every single day, total body transformation. The gap between the people who make it and the people who don't isn't some magical innate talent. It's simply this compounding daily effort. So, if you take nothing else away from this, remember this crucial point. Slow progress is infinitely better than no progress. This might be the most powerful life rule you can internalize. Honestly, no matter what your goal is, even if you feel like you are moving at a snail's pace, that tiny, agonizingly slow daily progress is so much better than just staying stuck in that toxic cycle of inconsistency we started with. Now, as you're making that slow progress, you are definitely going to stumble. It happens to all of us. But remember, winners are not those who never fail. Winners are those who never quit. Failure is literally just a normal, expected part of the process. It's just feedback telling you how to adjust your approach. Quitting, that's the only way you truly fail, completely. I want to leave you with one final, really massive takeaway from the material. Consistency is the bridge between dreams and reality. Think about it. Everyone has dreams, right? Everyone makes plans. But the absolute only way to physically cross that massive gap from where you are sitting right now to the reality you actually want to live in is by walking across that bridge of consistency, one brick, one day at a time. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I've got a challenge for you. What small step are you going to take today? Not tomorrow, not next week after watching, another motivational video, today. I'm challenging you to choose consistency right now. Take just one tiny, unbreakable step today, and then wake up tomorrow and do the whole thing over again. Thanks so much for hanging out and learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.